me, Florida Doug. So Radio Shack Mike, why don't you come on up?
My name's Radio Shack Mike, and I'm an alcoholic.
Mike.
And I am bursting to give you people this, the pre-Enlightenment Chris. This has been brutal to listen to. Just brutal. Hasn't it, Valerie? This is painful. I feel like I should be being paid to listen to these people say all these good things about you. I mean, I'm sure they're all true, but oh gosh, that's not the Chris that I met. Raven, you were speaking and you were saying that Chris is not just mental, he's anointed. I want to share a little bit about when he was maybe possibly judgmental and not so anointed. I met Chris at his 5th meeting. I think it was his fifth meeting. It was a Thursday night step meeting in Millington. And unfortunately, Andrew, you're going to hear all the same conversation that you heard last night. And at that particular meeting at that time, I don't even know if that meeting exists anymore, everybody in the room had to go around and introduce themselves. There was only about 10, 15 people, sometimes 5 or 6, at the start of the meeting. And when it got around to him, "Hey, Krishna Ahoy!" I had no idea what his face looked like, but I knew he was going bald. That was it. That was all it was it. And, you know, I went up to him after the meeting. I had just celebrated 90 days and was fresh out of rehab, so I knew everything. And I walked up to him after and said, "Hey, how you doing? My name's Mike." Chris. And I made friends with Chris, and Andrea asked me last night why I did. And it sounds like I'm being funny, but I mean it genuinely. I didn't see anybody else in AA that looked worse than me. I really don't mean it as a joke, and I know it's funny as hell, but there was nobody else around who looked worse than I felt. And that was Chris. And we became friends. We used to hang out. Chris and I went to 10, 12 meetings a week back then, didn't we? I think him and I had decided that we were going to do 500 meetings in our first year. And we probably did. We probably did all of about 10 of them together. And Chris and I used to go to meetings, then we'd go out for something to eat, and then we'd go back to the cave upstairs in his mom's house. Mike, you gotta listen to this new video I just got in the mail today! And, you know, pretty much every night at some point I'd fall asleep in between one of his 10-minute stories about a 4-minute song. And I'd wake up, and every single night I would wake up at about 1 or 2 in the morning on his bed and he'd say, "Mike, you gotta hear this. This is Lutoslawski." Oh my God, he's still talking. And he's still playing the shit. I just want to go home. But he was, you probably didn't know it yourself, but you were such a wreck and so full of anxiety, so stressed out and so high-strung, but so numb. So numb, because there was rarely any expression on your face. Chris was animated in public, but alone, he was just a scared man. And I know I'm outing you on some things that people don't talk about, but your friends need to know the in-between period. And Chris was just a scared man. His life had fallen apart like the rest of us. He didn't believe that anything would get better. I don't know that you were even willing to try, but I don't think you had anything else to do. I firmly believe that. And every day that Chris went without drinking was motivation for me, because there was still somebody worse than me that could do it. And Right around when both of us celebrated a year, I remember I had just done my 4th and 5th step with Rob, and I said to Chris, "So when are you going to do your 4th and 5th step?" He goes, "What the fuck am I going to do that for? What the fuck am I going to do that for? I'm going to sit around and write a list of all the people I harmed? I harmed everybody!" And I said, "Well, you should talk to your sponsor." But he goes, "That's who told me I shouldn't do it." Am I lying or exaggerating? Okay, just checks and balances, you know. And I gnawed Chris about doing the steps. And he then added a 4th step, better known as the 13th. And Chris did that for a little while. And the thing about you, Chris, is you never stopped. And I don't mean just going to meetings. You just never stopped walking forward, even when forward wasn't necessarily forward. You kept at it. It didn't matter if you didn't get it. It didn't matter how pissed off you were that people are talking about shit in meetings besides alcohol. This is fucking AA! You're supposed to talk about alcohol! And Chris used to yell for hours at me that people talked about other things besides alcohol in meetings. And I moved out to Hackettstown. I moved out of the area. I don't know, I guess we were about 2 or 3 years sober at that point. I came back to meetings every now and then, and Chris had latched on to the steps. And then we went out one night after a meeting. We went to Friendly's in Bernardsville, and all these assholes are talking about in meetings is alcohol. Nobody wants to talk about the steps. And I was sharing this last night with Andrea, and this is my favorite Chris Schroeder story. I'll never forget it. It will hang with me for forever. It's one of those nights when we were sitting up in his room listening to this music. Some guy calls on the phone. And he answers the phone and he goes, "Hello? Who? Who? The 70s? Who the fuck remembers the 70s? Best friends? Who are you? What do you want? Bye." "Who is that?" He goes, "Apparently my best friend in the 70s. I can tell you with complete certainty that without Chris and Valerie, I wouldn't be alive today. No ifs, ands, or buts. Not because of you taking me through the steps, not because you had a great message, because you never gave up on me. Neither of you, for that matter. You never gave up on me. And the times that I've been around this area and dropped by your house and saw all the characters coming, the newcomers, and this one just came back from rehab, this one just got thrown out of rehab, this one's not allowed in rehab. The thing is, no matter how you felt about anybody, you never gave up on them. And I know you have a lot of great things to say. I've heard you share them, the stories, the experiences, the steps, the big book. But to me, a spiritual awakening happens when somebody believes and sees something in us that we can't see. Or at least, and even if Chris can't see it in us, he's willing to give us a shot. And two people sitting down together, one of them looking into the other one's eyes and saying, "Well, the reason nobody likes you is you're an asshole." That's really helpful. It is! Both of them have told me it a lot of times. And I'm sure every time I thought it was helpful. I think each one of us has something special that we bring to the table. We all have our own little calling. I have lack of a better word for it. And you absolutely have found yours. And it's been great for you, and it's been great for other people. And it's always a little funny to me, and whenever Valerie and I talk on the phone, we're like, well, Chris is now being elected president, or something like that. And it's like, he is still Chris. Rob, when you share that, it's like, thank God. You know, you're still Chris to me. You're not the Chris I met 20 years ago. And yes, it is true. He is sober 20 years. You're not that Chris, but the things that were beautiful and wonderful, buried under all that crap then, are still with you now. They're just more present. Your sense of humor, your intelligence, the fact that you have a high-functioning brain, but you're a pretty regular guy. The fact that you believe in the people around you for no logical reason. I mean, a lot of us weren't really the kind of people that you look at and say, yeah, I see a future in him or her. I think they're going to be really special. We're not that group. We're not that group that people meet us when we're new and look at us and say, boy, you got potential. I hope you keep doing it, because there's still a lot of us who need the message that I'm talking about. Yeah, the message of the big book and fellowship and spiritual awakening, those are important messages too. But the message that all of us are worth saving, and that while the other person may not be willing to go to any lengths that we talk about, that you or you'll send Dave or somebody else to go to any lengths, but somebody will go to any lengths for somebody else, because you've double booked, which means he's taking his nap with the headphones on. I think that's an important message, that message of letting God speak through us. Look into somebody's eyes, and when they're being an asshole, tell them they're being an asshole. When they need to take a step in their life, whether it be one of the 12 or the other 10,000 or so we take every day of our life, that there's a step that somebody's got. I wish there was like a non-gender way to say this, but somebody's got the balls to tell us that, yeah, I know, I know you're having trouble with your wife, but you got to stop cheating on her. You know, somebody has the balls to tell us that is really important. That lying, cheating, and stealing aren't good things. And when somebody tells us we're doing well, that they show us by bringing us around in front of other people and sticking somebody else in front of them and say, like he's done with you, Rob. You know, I remember when you were hesitant about Chris. And then when you got hooked up with Chris, he started bringing you around, and soon after that, he was sending you out to here and bringing you out to here. And I've never heard you speak, but your message was yours. And Chris put you in a position to do that, and it's changed you. And to me, that's the recovery message, is you take a jerk. I'm not saying you're a jerk. You take a jerk, you tell them they don't have to be a jerk, you tell them how to stop being a jerk, and then you make them do it. And then the rest is up to them and God. Thanks, man. I can't imagine 20 years without you. And I was driving up here today. You know, just being back in New Jersey is really emotional for me for a ton of reasons. I haven't been around people that have been in the desert for I was driving here, I was thinking that if it wasn't for those nights at Friendly's and in your room and us chasing around girls with 4 hours sober, I don't think I would be alive, but more importantly, I'm not sure I would have wanted to be. You've given me something that very few people have. I don't have a lot of 20-year friends running around because starting 20 years and 3 months ago, I don't have any friends previous to that, that are still around. So I thank you and very grateful you've been in my life.
It's funny when I travel around and speak at AA conventions, and I mentioned Chris S. It's like, the waters apart. Especially over in Europe, they think of him as, this, yeah, they're back there laughing because we know Chris. And, but it's just how many lives that Chris has changed, and it's truly amazing. The tape that I was given at the perfect time when I was crashing, it was Chris who I heard, and it was the fun that was brought back into my life that I've carried on for the last 8 years. And the people in here know Chris is just Chris, but if just the name that you have out there in the AA community is absolutely huge in Europe and also all the United States. And so I'd really like to give a standing ovation for Chris. Chris, come on up.
Oh boy. That was draining for me because I still have a really low self-esteem. I have a big ego. I got a low self-esteem. Anyway, some of my best friends in the world are here today, and I have absolutely had a wonderful 20 years. Meeting all you characters and the many more that aren't even here today has been a highlight of my life. I really went from somebody that was about to check out. I mean, alcohol was going to take me out. If I would have kept drinking another couple of months, I probably would be dead. To having a really, really incredible life, and my life is incredible because of the people in it. And